Can we imagine something having no beginning? Oftentimes people say that we can't. The thought is that if something has no beginning, it just boggles the mind. We just can't go back and back and back and there just be no beginning. And people talk about this sometimes in relation to the universe as a whole, time, space, and matter. It just seems incomprehensible that there could be no beginning to it. And even if it's not about asserting that the universe had a beginning, sometimes people talk about this in order to dismiss the conversation. Like, something having no beginning is just so far beyond our comprehension that this is just a subject that we can't even reasonably discuss, so may as well not discuss it. Again, sometimes people evoke this idea in order to promote the idea that the universe did have a beginning, and other times people talk about it in order to dismiss the whole conversation, whether about the universe or anything else that is supposed to be without beginning. But is this really true? Is it actually true that we just can't imagine there being no beginning? I want to suggest that you can actually imagine no beginning, hence the title of the video. And it's actually really, really simple. You can imagine the present moment. I mean, sure, you can't imagine everything that consists of the present moment, but you can imagine kind of what things are like now. And just imagine back 100 years, and now 1,000 years, and just keep going back, imagining what it might have been like. And for our purposes here, it doesn't matter that you can't imagine what it was actually like. It's just the principle of being able to imagine a preceding moment. And you could even just imagine a square or a ball or anything. It doesn't even matter. And imagine it going a little to the left and then a little to the right and then whatever. It doesn't matter. Just imagine the preceding moment. And you can just keep doing that. You can come to a spot and then can you imagine it changing slightly and imagine that being a preceding moment? Of course you can. It's just that eventually you'll get bored and want to go on living life because it's not like all you have to do is imagine preceding moments. But you could literally devote 3 hours a day or however much time you have to imagining preceding moments and just the next day pick up where you left off at the end of the previous session and imagine more preceding moments. And I don't recommend you do this because it would just be a waste of time, but the point is you'll never come to a spot where you just can't imagine a preceding moment. So that's you imagining no beginning, right? Like, it's actually kind of simple. You can keep going back and going back and going back in your imagination. It's perfectly comprehensible because it's just the same thing as imagining the past at all. You just keep going. What you can't actually imagine, on the other hand, is there being an ultimate beginning. In fact, there's no one thing that you can point to and trace its ultimate beginning. There's nothing. Like people say, oh, everything we know has beginnings, therefore we can't imagine no beginning. Well, we only know beginnings in terms of beginnings of certain configurations of matter, but we don't know anything for which we can trace its ultimate origin, the origin of the material itself. If you want to trace back a tree, it goes to a seed, and that seed goes to a tree, which goes to a seed, which goes to a tree, which goes to a seed, and you'll never find the beginning. Everything that we know, so far as we know, we can't trace any ultimate beginning to it, any ultimate origin. So that's one aspect as to how, first of all, we don't know of an ultimate origin to anything. And if we're talking about ultimate origins, like the origin of matter itself, that really requires imagining no matter, no thing. And can you imagine absolutely nothing? The absence of all matter? No, I mean, you can't, right? Like, just, you can try. Like, you could pause the video right now and try to imagine nothing. Because again, if there's an ultimate beginning to matter, in that non-matter preceding it, there would be no matter. So can you imagine that? Go ahead, you can pause the video and try. And what you'll find is that you might end up imagining a blank white slate or just pure darkness or something like that. But that's not nothing. You're always going to have something there. You'll always even have a sense of self and all of that. It leaves you in a place where you actually cannot imagine an ultimate beginning because you can't imagine there being nothing from which something came. It's absolutely an incomprehensible idea, but you can imagine there being no beginning because, like we said, you can just keep going back and back and back and back. Sure, you'll get bored. Yeah, you'll want to do other things with your life, so you won't continue. But all you can imagine is previous states. You can't imagine nothing, and you can't imagine an ultimate origin. So it's easy to imagine, well, I just imagined a previous moment, so I know I can imagine another previous moment and another previous moment. You might be thinking that this is touching on some deep, profound subject, but really, it's extremely simple, and in fact, it's kind of mundane. It's not even really that profound. It's just that there are preceding moments, and we can imagine there being preceding moments, and we've just kind of fooled ourselves into thinking that we can't imagine no beginning, and that somehow a beginning is the easier thing to imagine, when in fact it's just the opposite. We can only imagine there being no ultimate beginning because we can't do the contrary. We can't imagine an ultimate beginning because we can't imagine nothing. So I hope that after watching this video and contemplating it, that if you have in the past said things like, I just can't imagine there being no beginning for something, hopefully you won't say those sorts of things anymore because you know that you actually can. You can imagine those things. And also, I hope that you'll see that discussing these sorts of topics, the fundamental nature of reality and whether time does go back forever, is not something beyond our comprehension, and is thus something worth keeping on the table of discussion. It's not futile. It's not a worthless pursuit. It's worth contemplating these things because it is within our comprehension. Anyway, if you liked this video, I recommend for you to check out some of the other videos on our channel, and also subscribe and like, and if you want to receive notifications, don't forget to click the bell. Thanks.